Well, hello everybody. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto under 20. And my program is a Just for Today program. And what I mean by that is just for today, I will make sure that I step on all the bases of what I do to keep my keto under 20, keep me from doing something I shouldn't do, keep me from eating something I shouldn't eat, and even entertaining eating something that I shouldn't eat. In other words, the 3-second rule applies to food porn, whether it comes in the form of a delivered pizza at your office or the candy jar by the receptionist's desk or anything that you see online, and suddenly it looks like a good idea. When you see a full day of eating and they get to the dessert part with the ketofied recipes, it's like, do you hang in there and see it and start thinking and start going over in your head, I think I've got that item. I think I've got that ingredient. I'll just go and pick up some something that will make it ketofied. And then I can enjoy it. And nobody else in the house would even touch your ketofied food because they're still having the real deal. So then you're stuck with a batch. Now for me, there's a secret ingredient that would go into a batch of something ketofied. Even from the freezer, I could hear it singing to me. It's like a little ingredient that promises to sing through the freezer door. Come and eat me. I'm in here. You don't want me to get frostbite. You might as well. It only had 7 carbs. You can do that. Just do a day of subtracting fiber, and then you can fit those 7 carbs into your under 20. You know how that disease talks to you. At least it talks to me that way. But alas, that's not even the subject for today. That's just a typical day. And so just for today, I tracked my food already. I know what I'm having. And guess what? I will follow through and have just that. And it works for me. Yesterday, Michelle Rock did a thing on cooking her chicken thighs, and if you think that you pay attention to detail, you've got to see it. It was posted last week, and she has these chicken thighs that she puts on the parchment paper on a cookie sheet, and then she puts all these spices in a great big mixing bowl and puts all the thighs, and then rubs in the spices under the skin onto the meat. What a concept. Like, duh, because after you pull off the skin and eat it, because you can, because you're on keto under 20, wink, wink, then you're left with the chicken thigh that doesn't have any of that flavor. So I rubbed some in. It's like, oh yeah, 66 and still learning. Yeah, there I am. So I did it, and she took the flap of the chicken thigh, and she had them lined up on the paper like this. It was awesome. And so I did it just like she did. And now I have 7 chicken thighs in my fridge in a huge bowl that I can have for lunch or for dinner anytime I want. And I'm a big leftover queen anyway. I just sent an email to another one of us with all of the food that I have in my refrigerator, all of the different meats, organic pork chops, filet mignon, Delmonico steak, grass-fed, the chicken, the pork belly. Doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, it fills 2 fridges, not to mention the veggies. So anyway, you're saying, will you quit digressing and get to the darn topic? Here's the topic, and I was thinking of it because when I was at work, and I worked 3 overnights this past weekend, so I got a lot of reading time in and a lot of podcast time in. This was the advice columnist, Carolyn Hacks, and it's also called Tell Me About It, and I think it's originally posted in something like the Washington Post or something, or Washington Times, but if you Google her, it'll come up, and it's probably last Sunday's entry. And it's written by this young, you can tell that she's a young woman, and she is devastated by her father's food choices. And so he says he's going out on errands, And when he comes back from errands, there are all kinds of junk food remnants in the car. And so he has gotten as sneaky as a drug addict or an alcoholic or a gambler or a shopper, where the shopper goes and buys something and puts it in the trunk of their car, and then when they wear it and the significant other says, "Is that new?" You could say, "No, I've had it for a month." Yeah, in a bag, in the trunk, with the labels on it. Anybody identify here? Oh, I'm sorry. I must have been the only one. Now I just do it. Greg's as much of a clothes horse as I am, so it's fun to find. Put that on Match.com that you're a clothes horse, so then you don't ever have to deal with, "Oh no, I've had it for a month," in the trunk with the tags on it, in the TJ Maxx bag. Anyway, so she's tried every remedy, which is a very Al-Anonic sort of thing, what we do, especially children of alcoholics. I remember doing that, pouring out the booze, pouring out half the booze and filling the other half with water, thinking that we were going to make somebody change. Now, we're food addicts, most of us. Some of us are still in denial about it and think that, oh, we just ate too much. Well, guess what? you still might qualify. So if you just ate too much, or if you are a card-carrying food addict, sometimes people might confront us about our choices. Have you ever been confronted by your choice of food, or your behavior around food, or your ingestion of food? Qualify? Or did you just have enough self-loathing and disgust and self-hatred for yourself that you were a party all by yourself, a little pity party all by yourself? You didn't need anybody else's looks, words, glances, comments, or whatever. That you did a lot of your food, eating, behavior, and choices alone, and nobody was ever the wiser, except that you kept getting bigger and you kept getting snarkier, harder to live with, all of those things, with no remedy in sight. Was that you? It was me, but I was a party of one. I mean, nobody was paying attention to what I was eating, because oftentimes I chose people that drank too much or drunk too much. So they were too busy. They were too busy finding their own stuff, having their own stuff, dealing with their own shame and self-loathing and self-disgust and hatred. So, yeah, water seeks its own level. So, anyway, have you been confronted by somebody that says, whoa? I mean, we think of it with maybe alcoholics. You know, it's like, whoa, buddy, you better hand me your keys. I'll drive you home. But if you ever spent so much time at the dessert bar at a buffet that somebody says, whoa, your insulin and blood sugars must be off the charts. You better give me your keys so I can drive you home. Unlikely. Or are you getting up in the middle of the night and doing any of that nighttime eating? I have sponsored in the food program of OA people that did nighttime eating, and some of them didn't even know that they were. They would just get up the next day, the next morning, for like their regular get ready for work routine, and there would be crumbs everywhere and wrappers everywhere, and they lived alone. So I know that from a very close third-party connection, what that's like. Or maybe you're a nighttime eater and you just can't stop. There is actually a person on YouTube that eats what I would never even call a meal. It's so small, but that's so she can tuck into the 3 times that she has pure sugar items for 3 different desserts at night. Like the 7 o'clock, the 8 o'clock, and the 10 o'clock. And for some reason, she thinks it's okay. She has no apologies for anybody. So nobody's confronting her. And if they did, they might be walking around without a head. So know who you're confronting. So if anybody's ever confronted you, and maybe somebody that you live with that has watched you and the pain that you're going through with your addiction in full bore mode where you can't stop eating, you can't stop making lousy choices, and then you make yourself into a victim. And that person finally says, enough of your crap. Do something about it. I can't do anything about it. I love you and I support you no matter what size you are, but you are no fun to live with right now. And maybe you should enter into a program. And a lot of us did that. A lot of us did that before we got here to Keto Under 20. I mean, for me, it was Weight Watchers and Overeaters Anonymous and counting my own calories and probably other things along the way. Probably getting, one of those diets from doctors where it's a half a slice of whole wheat toast, an egg white omelet with broccoli and mushrooms, no cheese, cooked with a spray of Pam, not even organic coconut oil, and lost weight that way, but it was losing weight the hungry way, wasn't it? I love keto. I love fat. I love pork bellies. But I digress. So, if you or yourself has had a stern talk with yourself about doing something, now is the time. Unless you're already doing something, don't get slippery, don't get lazy, stick with those feelings. Never forget. In 12-step programs, they talk about not closing the door on your past, leaving a crack open so you kind of remember where you came from. And that's called keeping it green. And so it's the same way with our food addiction. Keeping it green, remembering what we came from, remembering that slippery slope of just allowing. Now we're coming, last weekend was Mother's Day weekend. Did any of you partake in things that you thought you would do, and then Monday, back on the horse, back on the wagon, back to tracking, back to blah, 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 throwing out half of the cake or 4 of the cupcakes that were left, or, throwing out that leftover French brioche French toast that you got at, the Cheesecake Factory? It's something like 3,600 calories, and you threw out half of it, or no, you brought home half of it in a doggy bag, and finally you throw it out. Today is Tuesday, and you throw it out because today could be the day. And you know how you feel when today is the day. And sometimes, why does it take so much self-disgust to get to the day, right? Why? I guess because we're human, and food is so darn appealing these days. We can eat our emotions. We can just do such an escape job with food. I mean, yeah, we can buy online, yeah, but it's not the same. It's not the same as going on the hunt for something at TJ Maxx or Ocean State Job Lot or someplace like that where you can find this wow find, or even thrifting, right? So if you've made the decision that you've made the decision, then you can start at the ground floor of that is it, just for today. Just for today, I'm going to track as if I've always tracked. And I'm going to weigh and measure as if I've always weighed and measured. I'm going to have enough fluids. I'm going to have all of my supplements. I'm not going to start playing around with them. I'm going to accept that there's going to be a withdrawal from crap and garbage and the standard American diet. But if you make it today, the day that you do this, guess what? Oh, is there anything better than waking up knowing you have a clean day in the can? And you can go back and refresh and review on your FitnessPal or your Lose It or some sort of tracker and see that, yes, you had 4 ounces of that. Yes, you had 2 ounces of that. Yes, you had 33 grams of that. Not 30, 33. You become accountable in your world. Will anybody else notice that? No. You won't go into work today and they'll say to you, wow, you look like you became accountable in your tracker yesterday. It shows on your face, but it might. You might have that self-satisfaction of one day. And one day is huge if you've been off the rails for a while. Or you were off the rails this weekend celebrating Mother's Day, like everything should be allowed because you're the queen for the day. Staying keto under 20 is your reward. And that will make you queen or king, Michael, for the day. Because that's how we like to roll. Nothing tastes as good as momentum. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels, but you may have a way to get to skinny. That's okay. Momentum can be your little bite every morning when you wake up and you have a clean day behind you. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto Under 20. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye for now.